those ladies then took some of those pieces outside and made slides, and they sent them to a gallery in Atlanta and asked them to give me an opportunity. It was quite some time before we heard from them, but when they called, they named one piece in particular that they wanted to see. It was a bookcase with three shelves, just little, have to sit on a table or something. And all I did was try to see how many things I could put in there. That's what they mainly wanted to see. So we slipped over to Atlanta, and my son was with me. We discovered very quickly that the elevators were too small for us in the Ark. We had to go up the escalators, and we created a real sensation in Phipps Plaza. So we get up to where the gallery is on the second floor, and these ladies rushed out of their gallery, and they rushed up to him with this piece, and they began to talk about how wonderful it was, and my son is standing there struggling, and I finally said, can he set that down somewhere? They said, oh, just put it in the floor. They got down in the floor, and they began to talk about all the love they could see in it. And I thought, how did I ever come to this point in my life? I had no idea how to deal with them. I don't know if they had any idea how to deal with me. But we went off somewhere and ate lunch, and we came back. They took the things that I brought over. They had put some of my pieces in their showcase right by Howard Finster's pieces, and I was really blown away with that. He was really the top folk artist at the time. So one of the pieces, they said, they called a lady's name and said, when she comes in, she'll buy this piece. And so she said, you price this piece, and then after that, I'll know how to price them. Well, since we had to take it to Atlanta, I said, what about $400? That would include their commission. She said, oh, no. And I thought, well, I've finished this off in high style. She said, I'll get 1,000 for you and 1,000 for me. And my brain just kind of grew an icicle, and I said, well, you know, and I thought, I didn't say, just go ahead and do that. So a couple of weeks later, they called and said, she came in and she bought it. We knew she would. Well, that made me decide that that probably was not going to be in the next yard sale. And so I was able at that point to start selling things. It was very hard because I really had not made any of these things to sell to anybody. So that was my first big experience with the I had never even been in an art gallery before I went in that one. I had never even seen a copy of Rolling Stone, but those people opened a New York gallery while I was showing there, and they put my altar to Elvis in the window. And the third day, Rolling Stone photographed it and ran it. And at that time, Rolling Stone was printed in 17 languages. So that was a real eye-opening and off-the-wall experience. I still don't believe it sometimes. So later, they opened a show in Atlanta, a one-time show in August, every August, from Friday night, Saturday, and Sunday. And it was a show for dealers, not for individuals. And the people I was showing with over in South Carolina got a booth, and they told me to bring some stuff up and put in the booth. And I walked in that place, and there was the most famous folk artist and work beyond anything I could have ever imagined. And I thought, this is not going to work for me. But my booth was at the end of a row, and when you turn that corner, Howard Finster was around there. Well, there was a line forming to see him, and while they were waiting in line, they would buy from me. Odd things work out. I did that show for 13 years, and that was at the height of the folk art thing. I was unbelievably fortunate to have arrived just at the time that folk art got hot, or self-taught art got hot. There's so many names for it. I think self-taught is a better name, but the truth is nobody is self-taught. Somebody showed you how to use a pencil and how to use a crayon, how to use a pair of scissors. Every artist has been taught to me. So all kinds of things came out of that show. One day a lady was coming down the aisle handing out good-sized postcards with a picture of one of my pieces on it. And I thought, well, if she's bold enough to do that, I'm bold enough to ask. I made that piece. How is it you came to have it? She said, oh, I own it. I had to put something on the postcard, so I put your piece on it. And it happened we had met at Kentucky show, but we were so busy at those shows, I didn't remember her. But she told me to send some things to the show, and I sent 4 pieces, and continued to send a piece every year up there for that show. And one of my favorite experiences, a lady came to that show with her interior designer, and this was in Greenwich, Connecticut. They went through the show, and the interior designer said to the client, that black and white piece is the only thing in here worth buying. And that was my piece. So a person could set out to attempt to succeed or to arrive, and you couldn't make these things happen any way in the world. It's just some force that is way beyond your control. It either works or it doesn't work. And so I'm constantly amazed at things that have happened.